Hi guys, welcome to this paper 3 higher level video about remittances as a flow and also about illegal flows. We are probably as Hong Kong citizens very aware that there are lots of remittance flows from Hong Kong to countries like the Philippines and Indonesia. A remittance is a payment made back home from your wages. Some links here with the other areas of the syllabus will be the Human Development Index. So as we will see, the remittance as a flow is a large amount of money, and it has an important role in helping countries to develop and improve their Human Development Index. There's also considerable targets, links here to the Sustainable Development Target 10.1. So remittances as a flow are often underestimated. We all tend to think about money going to poorer countries in the form of aid or perhaps foreign direct investment. We overlook the fact that a large amount of money is sent home by workers to their home country. We can see here some of the numbers that are available are absolutely staggering. Mexico is sitting at $28.1 billion and China at $15.4 billion. India sitting at 10.7. Again, you can see for these countries there will be a massive impact, potential impact, on the Human Development Index. In particular, it could be argued that this form of money flowing into a country is far more effective than aid. Remittances as a flow tend to be made by individuals to their families and friends, and therefore tend to be more tightly focused on the specific requirements of the community. This is in stark contrast to the top-down procedure that is often associated with aid. And if we look at foreign direct investment, that investment is mainly made for the purposes of gaining profit. So remittances as a flow do stand out, and they have a particular role in helping communities to develop. Again, you can see that figures vary. On this slide we can see that China and India are the largest recipients of remittances. So if we dig down a little bit deeper into those remittances flow, we will see that remittances are in fact the second largest source of finance for developing countries. You will see from this graph as well that they have been consistently growing, in particular from about the year 2000. So a lot of candidates do underestimate the importance and significance of remittances. On top of this, don't forget that remittances as a flow can work in both directions. For example, many of your teachers at school will be sending money from Hong Kong and back to their home countries as well. And this mustn't be underestimated. Also, when considering remittances, all the figures that we have got are the official figures, and these do not include informal small transfers. So the actual figures are likely to be far larger than the initial figures would suggest. Again, linking back to this SDG 10 and the Human Development Index. As well as flows of money and people, there are of course illegal flows. Illegal flows, the first one we'll look at is humans. Unfortunately, human trafficking is a very large business. If you've ever travelled into countries like the UAE and you're a minor, that's somebody under the age of 18, without one of your parents, this might have caused you some problems. So quite often you will be asked questions and asked for additional paperwork. And this is all to stop human trafficking. Again, we can see that there are links to SDG 16 here, and the syllabus link is into changing population. Also, in the previous core syllabus, we looked at anti-trafficking policies as part of our population unit. Linked to this also is Sustainable Development Goal number 12, which is responsible consumption and production, because often these illegal human trafficking is associated with illegal production of drugs, of counterfeit material and of sweatshop conditions. So you see that there is actually a supply chain, and human trafficking forms part of that illegal supply chain. You can see that if you have an illegal worker working in your factory, there are considerable savings to be made. Sometimes you will hear this called as enforced labour. Sometimes this will be called bonded labour, but really for all intents and purposes it is modern slavery, which unfortunately still in the 21st century is alive and well. And there's a good possibility that you would currently be using or consuming products that somewhere have been involved with the supply chain of human trafficking. There is also illegal flows in goods. Again, this links to global trends in consumption. We've also, in the previous core units of work, looked at sweatshops and the impact that this has on Human Development Index. Some links here to SDGs might be to SDG 16, which is peace, justice and strong institutions. Fake goods are illegal. Part of goal 16 is to reduce crime, but they are associated well with organised crime. They can also be associated with domestic violence and violence in factories against the workers. So really, when we look at peace, justice and strong institutions, countries that tend not to have strong institutions do harbour the trade in both humans and the trade in fake goods. Many of us may have come across fake goods, and many of us would have consumed fake goods as well. Please do consider this. It may seem harmless consuming fake goods and good value for money, but they are associated with human trafficking, child labour, abuse of workers, in particularly female workers, and organised crime. You are probably directly somewhere down the line funding organised crime by the purchase of of fake items. An increasingly disturbing trend is that of counterfeit medicines. They are extremely difficult to tell apart, to tell the real thing from the fake thing. So again, this links back to our higher level unit on health and well-being, and also SDG 3, which is good health and well-being for people. And there have been some horrific stories of actually fake insulin being injected into babies that are having a heart attack. The insulin absolutely has no effect whatsoever on the child, and it turns out actually that insulin is not insulin at all. It's water, but marketed as insulin. So you might want to take a closer look into this infographic on malaria. If you want to see this presentation, I will put the link to it below this YouTube video and on the website. So again, one of the emerging things is counterfeit medicines, particularly that of malaria, because the market for malaria medicine is so large. So again, linking into SDG 3, good health and well-being. On top of that, something that anybody who has been living in Hong Kong and China will know about is that of counterfeit food and drink. Food fraud, as we can see, links into SDG Target 2.1, which talks about food security, which is safe food for all people. It's not just copying products. A lot of these products can actually be dangerous or illegal. Dangerous and illegal. In China, you will hear often horror stories about recycled oil from sewers, fake eggs, fake dim sum, which is entirely chemicals. Some people have died from these. Again, we can see that there is this link between illegal flows and poor institutions and poor governance, crime, human trafficking in illicit drugs as well. So these all link together to be quite serious considerations for the 21st century. So finally, we do look at illegal flows in terms of flows of drugs. This again links into 3.5, which focuses on substance abuse. It also links with our urban crime and social stress units. The amount of money for illegal drugs is absolutely massive. People who do consume illegal drugs, of course, do so understanding the risks, understanding that it's illegal, but something else that consumers of illegal drugs should be aware of: it does fund crime, it does cause problems, it is associated with human trafficking, it is associated with huge environmental damage. So it's not just the consumption of the drug that itself that causes the problem. Again, we'll go back to this idea of the supply chain that has got the drug to that consumer. Hey guys, if you've enjoyed this video, I hope you found it helpful. Do leave a comment below, give me the thumbs up, and if you are an IB student, I would suggest very strongly that you subscribe to my YouTube channel.